Good morning, this is Vicki.
And this is Jo.
And we're the Two Natural Ladies.
And we talk about the good news we all need and ways of getting the most out of life.
We help people with practical, uplifting ways we can all make a difference.
And we're striving for better, not perfect.
And we love a good laugh. Please enjoy the show. And you're with the Two Natural Ladies, and we have the wonderful Sal Prothero with us. Welcome, Sal. It's lovely to have you with us.
Thanks, Jo. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, I met Sal, I don't know, it must have been 5 years ago. It's amazing. I don't know how.
About that.
Yeah, and through a networking group that I'd created and then disappeared. But anyway, it was great because I met Sal, and she is a clinical nutritionist, university trained, and she has a real passion for people's health and well-being. So why did you become a clinical nutritionist? And particularly you specialise in mental health, particularly depression, anxiety and ADHD. So what's your reason for that?
Well, when I left school, I didn't even know what a nutritionist was. I wanted to be a racing driver or a jet flight pilot.
Oh, love it.
Pilot. Yeah, so I didn't know anything about how food could affect us. So my health, I guess, a decade of eating refined carbs, sugar, too much alcohol, really stressful jobs in the corporate world. And then my health started going downhill towards my late 20s. I always felt under the weather, low mood, and I had anxiety, but I didn't actually realize I had anxiety. I know it sounds silly, but then we didn't talk about things like that.
Yeah.
After I had my two kids in my 30s, and I thought, this is it. I've just got to do something about it. This has been going on for too long. Also, did I mention I was a terrible vegetarian as well? I decided to go and see a nutritionist. And the first nutritionist I saw, she put me on such a restricted diet that I couldn't go out. I ended up being a hermit. Then I went to see someone else, and I just thought, I could do better than that. And I started getting interested in food as medicine. And anyway, fast forward to moving to Melbourne, and I thought, I want to help people who have been through what I've been through. And I thought, the only thing I can do is train to become a nutritionist. So that's what I did. And the mental health side of things, it was only when my daughter started having severe anxiety at school, it was around kind of year 8, year 9, that time, and the roller coaster of a ride that we went through in the mental health system, which is massively underfunded.
Yep.
And also just not knowing where to go, not knowing who to go to for help. And because usually the first port of call is to go and see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and it's usually medication. I thought to myself, no, there is another way. There's diet and nutrition. And, I've always been interested in psychology, and I got interested in, brain chemicals and things like that. And I thought, well, this is my destiny. So anxiety and depression in particular, because my daughter has those. And then thinking back to when I was younger and growing up, I had a bit of that, bit of both as well. The ADHD, I just hear too many kids being diagnosed with ADHD, and they don't have to be put on medication. That seems to be prescribed, I think, too quickly. And food, diet, nutritional imbalances are so important. And that's what I do. As you said earlier, I'm very passionate.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how do you help people with their mental health?
Gosh, when I was preparing for this interview, I thought there's just so much to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about everything. So I'll summarize it as best I can. I do consultations, and I also have an online program. And before COVID, I used to give presentations because I'm very passionate about educating people. Because, when I say to people about diet and nutrition and mental health, they just look at me blankly. So, it's all about educating so that people know what they have to do and why. You know, I always want to know why people are sick. It's not just a Band-Aid approach. So first of all, when I do see people, the first thing obviously is diet. So it really depends. Everybody is so different, but, you know, as you can guess, refined carbs are out. Also, you know, kind of sugar. And also I look at food sensitivities because that ties in with gut health. Gut health, I'm just a major fan because the gut is the key really to all health, including mental health. So if somebody is eating foods that they're not compatible with, then that's just going to create even more inflammation. And inflammation is a big one when it comes to depression.
Just going back to your daughter and, you know, realising that maybe what she was eating was contributing to her mental health state. How did you deal with that? Because I know for me, I mean, I had the added issue of my son was on illicit drugs as well. So I just couldn't get him to eat the good food. And, of course, now he's right into it, you know, and it's like, if only, you know, 15 years ago he'd done that, you know, he may not have gone down the path that he ended up going down. But so I just wondered how you find with teenagers and young people, how you get them to see the benefit.
Yeah, that's a really good question because it is very challenging.
Yes.
And I'm not going to lie, with my daughter, she just did not see how food could help. And also being my daughter, she didn't listen to me, as you just said with your son.
Well, I imagine she was on a good diet anyway, so it's really like taking it to another level, isn't it?
Well, she was when she was younger.
Yeah.
You know, I think as parents, we all, or most of us, try to give our kids good food, but then, of course, when they hit the teenager years, that kind of goes out the window.
Yes.
So, but I had her on supplements as well. Supplementation is so important because even though I talk about food a lot, and of course my business is whole food nutrition, it's not just all about food because there's many people who have nutrient imbalances and deficiencies. So, you know, food is not what it was. You know, a lot of people are deficient in zinc, say, and magnesium, and also some people just don't absorb their food as well.
Yeah.
Just with my daughter, it was she had, you know, kind of a high carb diet, and it's very, very difficult to change them because, you know, carbs are addictive.
Yes.
You know, if you think about it.
Yes.
So it's only now that she's 19 now. Now she's like your son, I guess. Now she's she's got an interest in food, and she thinks, oh yeah, maybe I'll try it. But the people I have seen many teenagers in the past, and they have to want to come to see me.
Yes.
You know, some of them do come with their parents who obviously are desperate to get help, but they have to want to get better. And it's just, you know, coaching them, if you like, and I suppose being human and saying, well, you know, I know exactly where you're coming from. And also a lot of teenagers, they want to be thin, very, very thin as well, and don't eat the good food that they should be eating. So I try and educate as much as I can.
You know, it's interesting what you were saying too, Sal, about the your approach sounds much more empathic. You know, there's empathy and compassion for the child. Because I actually took my son to somebody who this guy was saying was brilliant, but his way was, if you don't do this, I'm not looking after you. I'm not treating you. So, of course, we get back in the car, and I won't use the words he used, but it was like, what was that all about? You know, he was so angry, and it was just like, oh, yes. And he was the only hope I had at the
time
of someone who wasn't just going to drug him.
Oh, gosh.
So,
that's awful that you had that experience.
Yes. So it's wonderful that you're like that.
Yeah, I guess because like all of us, if we've been through the same thing, then we can have a lot of empathy. And but some kids I've seen, they're really into food. They prepare their own food. And of course, many people, as well as teenagers, do not eat enough vegetables. So, a smoothie, okay, it's not the best option, but at least they're getting something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, because veggies, as you probably know, are really, really important, and many of us don't eat enough. And also with the supplements that I give them, I just make sure that they can actually take them as well. And also, I don't overprescribe. I once had a 6-year-old who came to see me, and they had been to see somebody else who was a nutritionist, and the poor mum had a huge bag of 12 supplements in her bag. And I just thought, a 6-year-old taking all them, I just thought it was outrageous.
And so you mentioned essential nutrients. So what are your top 5 essential nutrients for the brain and mental health?
Well, of course, all nutrients are important, but the top 5, I think, if I had to pick, would be, the first one is protein. Okay, I always go on about protein because if you don't have enough protein, then you're not going to be able to make your transmitters, your brain chemicals. And there's so many, I guess, they're like pathways. So, so if you don't have enough nutrients in the first path, then that's not going to convert to the second part. So like, for example, melatonin. So and serotonin is part of that pathway. And if you don't have the right nutrients, including protein, because that's where it all starts, then forget it. You're just not going to, be able to make anything. So I say this because vegans and vegetarians in particular, the ones I see, they're really low in protein.
So what are some really good protein foods for vegetarians and vegans?
Well, the tofu.
Yep.
And legumes, beans and pulses, tempeh. So, if you don't like any of those foods, then, that's going to be
a problem,
a slight issue. So you're going to have to look at other eggs as well. Now, I want to just say something about eggs because people come to me and say, yeah, I eat lots of eggs, but, there's only 5 grams of protein in one egg. So, while they're great, there's not a huge amount of protein. Nuts and seeds as well. And then, of course, if you eat meat, then, of course, meat has got the highest amount of protein.
Yep.
So that's protein. Then magnesium is a big one. So many people are deficient in magnesium. So we're talking about foods like green leafy veggies, bananas, nuts and seeds again, avocado, dark chocolate, which, of course, everybody jumps up and down when they hear dark chocolate. But there's still sugar in it.
Yes.
So, just have like one or 2 squares. The B vitamins are so important. And also when I give a magnesium supplement, there's usually Bs in there. So, you need that for energy production and for brain function. So, again, the same kind of foods, actually, like whole grains. So, things like quinoa, that's another great one for vegans and vegetarians is quinoa because it has all the amino acids in there and is great for B vitamins as well. Then you've got your essential fatty acids. So many people are low in EFAs. So, I make sure that they're getting the right macronutrients, so protein, carbs, and fats. And, you've got to get those good fats inside you. So, they're a lot harder to get enough of. So things like nuts and seeds, especially walnuts, mackerel, sardines, avocado again. So, of course, if you're a vegan, you're not going to be getting, those sources as much.
So
or vegetarian.
just about the sardines, you know how there's a problem with they talk about the amount of mercury in certain fish.
Yeah.
Is that a problem with sardines?
Are you talking about the actual fish, or are you talking about the tinned?
Well, the tinned, because Are you saying buy it fresh?
Well, of course, that's just not very practical,
no.
really.
No.
Where can you buy fresh sardines?
Well, that's right. That's why I was asking. Well, do you know somewhere?
I wish.
Yeah. So, do you find the cans? Do you know if the cans are particularly? So, I'm asking you tricky questions here.
No, it's fine. No, I think with all cans, I think everything in moderation.
Right.
So, if you can get, so if we're talking about fish, try and get fresh salmon.
Yes.
But non-farmed.
Yes, that's
so again,
hard.
that's quite tricky to source as well, is non-farmed salmon. But mackerel, sardines, but it's like tuna. Some people have tuna every single day. No, that's in my opinion, that's a definite no. So if you just have it, like, say, 3 times a week.
Actually, well, I think we were in the middle and we interrupted you. How you help people with their mental health, Sal? Do you want to keep going on that?
Yeah. I just wanted to mention that apart from the food, which of course is the most important thing, and then getting your gut health, in tip-top condition, I also look at lifestyle. Stress is such a big one. What I hate using the word exercise, but whether you move your body or not, your social network. But I also look at your hormone health, your thyroid, your brain chemicals. I look at biochemical imbalances. And I also do a hair test that tests for nutritional imbalances and deficiencies, and that is key, really, when it comes to particularly ADHD, but also anxiety and depression. So, I know I haven't got a lot of time. I just wanted to mention those things. I don't look at diet.
We look at, in a nutshell, I suppose, it could be what we're eating, as in, not the best balance of foods or the right nutrients, but also looking at allergies and sensitivities as well. So, there's a lot to look at.
Well, we actually Sorry, I was just going to say, just before you came on, we were talking about tomatoes, and some people have terrible reactions to tomatoes.
Well, again, I do another hair test that tests for food. It's not an allergy test, but it's for foods that you're reacting to.
Right.
There's quite a few foods on there that usually come up because of the way they're made or grown. Yeah, because these days there's a lot of pesticides. As you know.
So it might be that the food's okay, but it's how it's produced.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
I have a burning question, Sal. I really need to know. Coconut milk, is it are they good fats? Is it good for you? What would you say?
I guess that ties in with coconut oil as well. Yeah. Which do you use that in cooking?
Yes.
Yeah. There's much debate about that. From what I've researched, it's fine. Yeah. Right. Coconut oil is fantastic for cooking. Yeah. Rather than, obviously don't use extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
But that, and also coconut milk, is good. But I have to say that if you're somebody, I guess, like me, who comes from Ireland, or Europe, I haven't been brought up on that food. Whereas I guess in Australia that it's more common, and in Asia, so it's fine, because I have heard of somebody who had a lot of coconut milk, a lot of coconut products, and he actually became quite ill.
Oh, really?
So so it's also down to your heritage.
Oh, okay.
And where you were brought up. Yeah.
Oh, well, I love coconut milk. I was wondering if it's high in fat. That was my concern.
Well, It is, but again, it's actually good fat.
Right, good.
So,
excellent.
Don't be too scared of good fat.
Yeah, and it's not an overuse as well. So how do you manage your personal mental health?
I've had a bit, I've had anxiety, depression, and, occasionally still low mood. So of course diet. But when I just want to mention with diet, I don't eat 100% healthily all the time. I just don't think that's healthy.
Yeah.
So I just don't believe in diets as well. So for me, it's a way of life. It's a lifestyle, and I do have my treats. I also take supplements, which are very important for me to be able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Also, I work on my personal development. I work on my mindset. I work on, who I am as a person. And I've only just started doing that in the last few years with the help of a kinesiologist. And that has helped dramatically.
Yes.
Because it's not just about diet and nutrition. It's also about the psychological side of things.
And you don't want to get anxious about your diet and nutrition, like you said. So
No, there's nothing worse. Yeah. Also, mindfulness is a big one.
Yeah.
Just I'm more present. So in other words, for example, when I'm eating, I actually sit down at the table, no distractions, and I eat. I'm mindful of what I'm eating, and of course that helps my digestion as well. And also gratefulness.
Yes.
I went through a time when I thought the whole world was against me.
Yeah.
And I'm just 5 things that I'm grateful for. I don't have to write them down. I just say them in my head. Even if it's just having a car or a nice bed to sleep in. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And of course, the moving the body is so important, especially for mental health.
Oh, very much.
So yoga and sort of walking, doing something, particularly out, in the outdoors, which of course you can do in Australia. And also social, the social side of things, really important. And that's why in COVID it was a struggle, just not having that human interaction.
And it would have been hard moving for you because you moved from one side of the world to the other.
Yeah, it did have its challenges.
Well, did you have your children before you moved?
Yes,
right.
Yes. They were born in Scotland, and then we moved over, and it was really tough because at least you speak English here, and it's similar in many ways, but then it just takes a bit of time to get used to. But the best thing I love is the outdoors.
Yes.
Just to be able to do that because, growing up in Ireland, it just rained all the time.
Well, we're a bit Irish today with our weather.
That's true.
Well,
so that's, I just try and do all those things. But you've got to kind of schedule them in because it's very easy to forget.
Yes.
And then, many people are burnt out. I've been burnt out loads of times because I forget to do all these things. So, yeah.
Yeah. Look, thank you for this. This has been just wonderful. And I've learnt some stuff, been writing notes. I think Vicki has been too. And how can people get in touch with you? Because I'm sure there are people out there thinking, we could do with a bit of Sal.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, my website, wholefoodnutrition.com.au. There's lots of blogs on there about depression, anxiety, just for you to learn about. You can book a consult. I have an online program, or you could just email me. The details are on my website. And if you don't like any of them, then, you can actually have a 20-minute free chat with me. Just to ask me lots of questions and see if we can work together.
Lovely.
That's wonderful. Thank you again for your time. And we always have we ask the people we interview what song that they would like. And you've gone with U2, Beautiful Day. Please tell us why you love this.
Well, I'm a huge U2 fan, coming from Ireland.
Yep.
And it just had to be a U2 song. Beautiful Day. It doesn't even matter what the rest of the lyrics are. I don't even listen to them. I just hear it's a beautiful day.
Yes.
And no matter how I'm feeling, it lifts me up.
Oh, well, thank you for choosing it so you can lift us all up. So have a beautiful day. Thanks, Sal.
You too, both of you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bye. Sal.
You've been listening to the Two Natural Ladies podcast. Visit twonaturalladies.com.au for more information. Thanks for joining us.